were with him in the custody of his Lord's house, saying, Why do you look so sad today? And they said to him, We each have had a dream, and there is no interpreter of it. So Joseph said to them, Do not interpretations belong to God? Tell them to me, please. One must know the thoughts and the ways of God in order to make the interpretation of anything that God's doing, whether it's through a sign, a wonder, whether it's through a dream, a vision, through its sounds, through tongues, through so many different ways that God is doing something in the land or doing something in an individual. It's only by knowing God's ways and thoughts can you make the true interpretation. There's no magic formula for it per se. There's been a lot of people who have even written long manuscripts about how you make interpretations. If you see this, this is what this means. If you see this in a dream, this is what this means. And they go through this list, and part of that is correct. However, it's just like any language. It can have multiple meanings. It doesn't always mean that one thing, and that's all it can mean. It can mean a lot of different things. In this particular setting here, which we will be talking about prophetic dreams in a later lesson, but what Joseph is saying is that no one can give you the true interpretation of what God is saying if it's not God telling you what it is. You can guess all you want, but it's easy to miss the mark if you do not know God's ways and thoughts and have His understanding. Now, reading the Scriptures helps us to be able to know His ways and His thoughts, because He's very diverse. He can be very angry, or He can be very loving. He has ways of doing things that we see through the Scriptures, that even when Jesus walked on the face of the earth, He began to speak, and men said, What are you saying? We don't even know what you're talking about. Speak plainly. Through the parables. And we've also talked about this as we talk about in prayer, prophetic prayer, that as you begin to hear the Lord speak to you, you may think you know what He's saying. But if you don't know His ways and you don't know His thoughts, you may miss it. It's easy to do so. Because if the men could not understand Him when they were walking with Him in the flesh, eyeball to eyeball, talking to Him with their natural ear, hearing every word He's saying, and still could not understand, how much more difficult is it for us who are required to hear Him spirit to spirit? And that's why it's so important that we begin to develop the Spirit that God has birthed within each and every one of us who are born of the Spirit. We need to recognize we're to walk according to the Spirit, and the only way to do that is to be able to know who our Father is. Because if we understand what our Father intends us to do, we can begin to see the prosperity, the abundant life work for us, and be able to discern which way He's wanting us to go and what He's desiring us to do.